You know I love my Laowa lenses. My favorite vlogging lens was their 7.5mm f2. I said was because I think I have a new love. This is Laowa's latest and the greatest, the smallest and lightest 10mm f2 C&D Dreamer. I cannot wait, so buckle up, let's dive in. Hi, this is Cheng here. I have been a professional photographer and filmmaker for 15 years. This channel is about sharing my experience and knowledge with an aim to help you become better photographers, together with gear and tech reviews, enabling you to capture your shots quicker and better, with a focus on Olympus Micro Four Thirds, because I'm their ambassador too. So smash that subscribe button and click that bell to stay notified for my upcoming content. Here it is, Laowa's latest Micro Four Thirds lens, the 10mm f2 C&D Dreamer. Just in case you don't already know, Laowa is a big Micro Four Thirds supporter. They officially joined the Micro Four Thirds Alliance earlier this year, and this 10mm lens is their second official Micro Four Thirds lens. And why am I keep saying official? That's simple. All members of the official Micro Four Thirds Alliance will have access to the blueprints of electronic designs, gain access to the electronic protocols to maximize compatibility across the platform, electronically, regardless of brands. This is the very reason why this 10mm f2 and its bigger brother, the 50mm macro, also an official Micro Four Thirds lens, have electronic contacts at the back. Why is this such a big deal when you think that Laowa already produces a whole bunch of very capable and interesting Micro Four Thirds manual lenses? First, let's consider that you have to manually set all the parameters before you click the shutter button. If your camera doesn't know what lens is mounted, since there is no communication between the lens and the body. Things such as focal length for camera stabilization, any focus assist such as peaking and magnify. Of course, I did mention before that you can set up quick access by customizing buttons on your camera to make things quicker when using manual lenses on your Olympus cameras. But when you have official electronic support, it makes things so much better for both stills and videos. Since this 10mm f2 is an official Micro Four Thirds lens, you don't have to do any of those stuff. As soon as the lens is mounted, the camera knows what focal length it is and automatically applies the correct eyepiece strength. More still, if you already configure to have peaking and auto magnify when manual focus is engaged, this is turned on automatically for you too, because the system knows it is a manual lens. Everything is linked between the lens and the camera. Oh yes, the aperture ring on the lens is also a thing of the past, since now that you can control the aperture from the camera dial. This is particularly useful for video shooters, since you don't have to touch the lens at all. As of 2020, Zhiyun's Weebless and Crane 2S has official support for Olympus cameras. It means that you can remotely control the aperture directly from their gimbals. But more of this in my future Crane 2S review. So it is a big deal for Laowa and for all of us Micro Four Thirds users. Back to the lens itself, I must first say that this isn't a sponsored video by Laowa, but they did send the lens to me for review. However, my opinions in this video are purely mine, good and bad. Perhaps, like my other Laowa reviews, I can almost skip this part, because when you buy a Laowa lens, you are guaranteed to receive a premium build optics. It's almost a tradition that Laowa uses premium material for all the lenses. Faux metal lens barrel, premium lens elements, and, to me, a way to see if a lens is not a budget beginner lens is the marking on the lens. They are properly engraved onto the barrel, not printed. The only moving part, the focusing ring, is very well damped with good resistance too. And since this lens has electronic components, my one and only concern will be weather resistance. But when it comes to build quality, Laowa's 10mm f2 C&D Dreamer is as good as a lens can get. At the beginning of this video, I did say that this 10mm f2 C&D Dreamer is Laowa's lightest and smallest. Before I received the lens, Laowa did say that this 10mm f2 is about the size of an egg. At 51mm long and 41mm wide, this thing is tiny, perhaps of a medium-sized egg in the UK. It's also shocking that it weighs about 1/2. At 125 grams, it's only 9 grams heavier than the featherweight Olympus 45mm 1.8, which is a plastic lens, and physically smaller than both Olympus 12mm f2 and the 45-1.8. Remember Laowa's own dinky 4.5mm fisheye lens? Even that is 10 grams heavier. This is just getting crazy. The 10mm f2 lens also looks utterly ridiculous on my EM1X, but a perfect fit on my street monster, the Pen F, or similar sized body like the EM5 and EM10. That also means handling is great. No one should have a problem using this lens for extended time. Well, like I said, all Laowa lenses are made of premium materials. That includes their optical glass. With 11 elements, 2 of them are aspherical and 3 are extra low dispersion, all packed together in 7 groups. It's pretty complicated for a tiny lens, but there's a reason for it. This 10mm f2 C&D Dreamer is a very well corrected lens, and this is pretty rare in our modern digital world, where many manufacturers use digital corrections in camera to get better performance. Part of this is to save costs, because it costs a lot to correct a lens optically, giving you aberration and distortion-free images. And this is precisely what the Laowa's 10mm f2 C&D Dreamer is. Needless to say, Laowa's latest Micro Four Thirds lens is a stunner in terms of image performance. It's sharp even at wide open. But what surprised me is how it performs at smaller aperture settings. This lens has virtually no diffraction, even when I dial it all the way down to f22, and it still produces usable images. Flare is generally well controlled too, but there are some visible strays with extreme strong light hitting at extreme angles. Vignette is visible at f2 but soon goes away by f2.8 and completely disappear by 5.6, which is to be expected for a relatively bright lens. As said before, this is a very well corrected lens, so distortion is basically non-existent. See my sample image of the brick wall. The performance speaks for itself. This is perhaps one of the best corrected lenses I've seen in recent time. Congratulations, Laowa! When people think that Micro Four Thirds is on the blink of extinction, it's a very welcoming sight to see Laowa pouring such a feast to indulge this popular community. This 10mm f2 C&D Dreamer is a very well executed Micro Four Thirds lens. Perhaps, in my opinion, the best Laowa Micro Four Thirds lens so far. The corrected optics, coupled with sharp and diffraction-free images, this little guy here is a very versatile lens that can be adapted to so many applications, from extreme impactful street photography to traditional landscape, adventurous travel and astrophotography, to even aerial. Yes, aerial photography. Don't forget that there are few professional drones which uses Micro Four Thirds mounts. Being such a lightweight lens, this 10mm f2 is also great for gimbal works. And yes, I did say that this is now my favorite vlogging lens, so it's great for that too. Fair enough, the 10mm focal length may not suit everyone, but for those who do, the Laowa 10mm f2 C&D Dreamer may just take the crown for being the best option for Micro Four Thirds. Thanks for watching, and I hope you find this video useful. And you know what to do now. Thumb if you liked it, and sub if you want to support this channel and me. Peace!